I built a Claude Skill for video editing. Here's what actually went into it. Every week I put out a video, and every week that video takes about 10 steps to get from an idea in my head to an uploaded, scheduled, thumbnail-attached, description-written final product. 10 steps. Same 10 steps every single week. So I built a Claude Skill for it. Here's what that actually looks like. Before I walk you through the build, let me tell you what a skill actually is. Because if you've used Claude or Cursor before but never heard the word skill, you're not alone. A skill is basically a how-to guide for Claude. It's a set of instructions that tell the model exactly how to do a specific task from start to finish. Think of it like baking a cake. You have to gather your ingredients, you have to do specific things to those ingredients in a specific order, you have to set the oven at the right temperature, there's a right way to do it, and there are a lot of wrong ways. A skill is the recipe you hand to Claude so it doesn't have to guess. It's not a slash command, it's not a prompt, and it's not a subagent. It sits above all of those. It's the instruction layer that tells the model which tools to use, in what order, and how to hand off between them. So why did I decide video editing was the workflow to build a skill around? Because it was the thing I was doing every week that had the most repeatable structure. Every week I generated a brief. I review it myself, voice questions get generated, based on my answers a script gets written. From that script, I flag the moments that need visuals, and those visuals get generated. Then we look at which visuals should stay as images versus which should become workflow-style videos. The video gets shot, then edited, then transcribed so we can find the best snippets. Then those snippets get marked on the DaVinci timeline for shorts. You get the idea. It's a lot, and every week it's basically the same 10 steps in the same order. The moment I decided to build the skill was when I got tired of explaining, for the 100th time, exactly what style image I wanted generated, or what the metadata should contain when the video gets uploaded, or what a snippet even meant in my specific workflow. That's when a skill starts making sense. When the explanation is repeatable, the explanation itself should be a document. Now, I didn't start this build from zero. I've been building agents for a while. My first agent was actually an agent that built agents. I had Claude research what best agent scaffolding looked like at the time, and I built from there. Almost everything I've made sits on that foundation. So when I sat down to build the video editing skill, I wasn't starting with individual agents. I was starting with a stack that already existed. The skill was really about orchestrating the ones I had and getting them to hand off cleanly between each other. The first agent in the pipeline is content generation. I work with it to brainstorm topics, do research on what's trending, and figure out what I actually find interesting enough to make a video about. From there it goes to brief generation, then script writing. And the script writing agent knows how I like my video scripts formatted, so it generates voice questions for me to answer. The same kind of questions I answered to build this video you're watching right now. My answers become the script. So already, 3 agents in, we've gone from, I want to make a video this week, to here's the script. Then we add specialists. Agent 4 is visual assets, the image generation piece. It's linked into my GPT image API, so once the script is locked, it generates the thumbnails and in-video visuals in my established style. Agent 5 is video assets, workflow-style animations and motion graphics for the more complex explainer moments. Agent 6 is the snippet agent. That one takes the final edited video, transcribes it, and finds the sections that would work as standalone shorts. Agent 7 is my caption agent. It handles subtitles for the vertical cuts. Agent 8 is the upload agent. This handles the YouTube API, the metadata, the thumbnail attachment, the playlist assignment, and the scheduling. And there are a couple more scattered around, somewhere around 10 agents total across the full pipeline. Now here's what I actually want you to hear about that number. I think a lot of people overestimate how many agents they need. They see a workflow like this and think they need 30 specialists to make it run. Really, it can maybe take 4. More agents doesn't necessarily mean better. More agents means more points of failure. So what you actually want are the fewest, most elegant chain of specialists that can do the job. That's the goal, elegance over count. Now here's the part about agents that most people don't understand. An agent isn't a program you download that magically works how you want. It's a set of instructions plus the right examples of what good looks like, and until you give it those examples, it's just going to guess. And its guesses are probably not going to match what you want. Take a video editing agent as a concrete example. If you want it to cut clips out of your raw footage, maybe cutting out all of your ums, all of your pauses, all the moments you restarted a sentence, you have to show it what raw footage looks like and what the finished edit looks like as well. Give it 100 videos of, here's how I do my cuts every single time, and it'll learn much quicker. It'll get closer to your natural style. Without those examples, it'll still do its best, but it's not going to be the best that you're looking for. The other thing you need is patience. You have to show it what you want. Understand that it's not going to be perfect on the first attempt. You have to work on it repeatedly until it gets much closer. Even then, it's probably not going to be 100%, but it'll save you time once you're set up. And that's the whole game. The trick that made the biggest difference in training quality for me was giving it clear examples of the finished product. If you don't know what the finished output looks like, the agent is going to guess, and you're going to be frustrated with its guesses. If you can point to a concrete example and say, make it look like this, you're going to save yourself hours of iteration. Now, once I had the individual agents working, wrapping them into a skill was actually the fastest part of the build. I did the same thing I always do when I don't know something. I had Claude go research the best and most consistent structure for a skill. Once I had that pattern, I took an orchestration agent I already had, a piece that was basically doing what a skill does, tapping into different specialists in a defined order, and I reformed it into a proper skill. The difference between an orchestration agent and a skill is that a skill has a more defined rule set, a more explicit, when you invoke this, here's exactly what happens, and here are the guardrails to pay attention to. That structure actually helped it more consistently than the loose orchestration approach did. Now, my setup is probably different from what a lot of people are trying to build. I think most people, when they hear video editing skill, imagine you put your raw footage in at the beginning, the system does its thing, and at the end you get a polished product with all the visuals and all the music and the captions and the metadata all baked in. One-click video production. That's not what I built. Mine is step-by-step. My skill takes a lot of the process I'd normally be manually requesting from Claude, but at each key decision point, I still step in. Here's a concrete example. My visuals. The skill knows we're making thumbnails, so it generates two options for me to choose from. It already knows the style, it knows the color palette, it knows the aspect ratio, it knows what kind of robot goes in it. So it saves me all that time I'd be spending explaining that stuff every single week. But when the two visuals come back, I look at both and I pick the one that I want. Some people would want that fully automated. For me, I like keeping human judgment in the loop. It works for me. Every video you've watched on this channel over the last couple of months has been made using exactly this process. Now, time-wise, this skill probably saves me around 50% of my week. And a big reason for that isn't any single step is faster, it's that steps can now happen in parallel. I shoot the video, and when I'm shooting, my visual asset agent is generating the images I need for the edit. My thumbnail agent is drafting the thumbnail. My Substack agent is drafting this week's newsletter. By the time I'm done editing, everything else is ready to plug in and upload. Now, 50% is a pretty generous number, honestly. A lot of that gain is comparing to when I first started, when I didn't know exactly what I was doing. But now that I've streamlined the flow, I couldn't imagine going back to how it was before. Now, the skill isn't magic. Of the 10 steps to get a video out, there are still 4 or 5 where I step in manually to do something, or at least approve it. And honestly, that's the point for me. Instead of me generating 30 prompts to make 30 visuals, the system generates the visuals, and I select the ones I want. Instead of me brainstorming where each visual should go, that's done. It's a hybrid. The machine handles the parts that are just execution. I handle the parts that are judgment. That's the marriage between the two. That's what actually works for me. Now, if you're going to attempt your first skill, here's the most important thing I can tell you. Build a skill for something you already do consistently. If you don't know how to edit a video, trying to build a video editing skill is going to be really difficult because you don't know what to ask the model to do. You don't know what the ingredients are or what temperature the oven should be set to. Same is true for any workflow. If you work at a bank, you know what the process is for a teller to do their job. I've never worked at a bank, so I couldn't build a skill for that. Start with something you know. Also, do your research. Ask Claude to look at what skills already exist. There are probably highly upvoted skills out there trying to cover most of what you're trying to do. Download those, or at least have Claude look at them. Tweak them, learn from them, then build your own from there. The last thing, if you're doing the same repeated thing week after week, a skill is worth it. If you're doing just one-offs, use a slash command or just prompt Claude directly. Don't overbuild. The thing I always leave people with is this. Keep it simple. There's a lot of hype about AI. Some of it is starting to die off, which is interesting in its own right. But you can't just plug Claude into what you do, whatever it is, a hobby, a business, a video workflow, and expect it to know as much as you do about that process. If you treat it like a tool, and you understand that a tool needs a little bit of patience and a little bit of setup to really pay off, you're going to be in a much better place. If you expect to plug it right in and instantly know everything you know, it'll catch a few things at the beginning, then it's going to struggle to guess the rest. So start small. Build a few agents first, learn the process, build some basic skills for things you already do consistently, and then grow from there. That's the build. That's the video editing skill, and that's how this channel actually runs. Subscribe if you want to see the next one, and thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time.